Greetings, peace. This is Brother Esquire. Welcome to another episode of All Men Are Not Created Equal. Today we have the mother and daughter team. We refer to them as the dynamic duo from Southeast Queens, Dr. Reba Perry-Ufele and her wonderful teenage prodigy, Egypt Ufele, who will be here with us discussing the fashion industry, discussing her anti-bullying campaign that she has. Egypt is just dynamic. Egypt was born and raised in Queens, New York. She is 15 years old. Egypt is a humanitarian, a fashion designer, a child prodigy, an anti-bullying activist, and an author of 2 books. She's also a UN Youth Ambassador, CEO of Chubby Line, Fashion Line, CEO of Bully Chases, nonprofit organization, host of the International Teen Summit, a motivational speaker, and a full-time high school student with an A+ grade point average. Egypt changed the game when she overcame being bullied through creativity, intelligence, and grace by becoming the youngest designer at the age of 10 to present an all-inclusive fashion line for New York Fashion Week. Her intent was on helping others to achieve their dreams. Egypt empowers people of all ages to dream and to set goals and to achieve. Her gentle demeanor belies her firm resolve as she crushes the fashion industry with iconic fashion and sassy looks for children, plus-size women, men, and boys. Egypt's foundation, Bully Chases, along with her 2 books, Life by My Own Design and Power of Style, provides resources and support for children that are bullied. She empowers and inspires children to build their confidence level and also how to become entrepreneurs themselves and become more included in society. Both books are part of the school curriculums worldwide in several languages. Recently, in 2020, Egypt has shifted her focus to utilizing her sewing skills and notoriety to provide masks, caps, and gowns, and to bring awareness to the frontline and essential workers during the COVID-19 pandemic. She addresses the struggles and stress levels of teens monthly via the International Teen Summit, where children are able to discuss their experiences during the pandemic worldwide amongst themselves. Egypt has received a plethora of awards and acclamations for her work. She's received the NAACP Danny Glover Award, Chamber of Commerce. She received an award from Columbia University Black Girls Magic, Harlem Hospital. She received an award from the mayor of Boston, numerous citations from New York State senators and assembly members. Egypt has been featured on Inside Edition, Access Hollywood, Popsugar, Essence Magazine, Craines Business, Refinery 29, Black Enterprise Magazine, Teen Vogue, New York 1, NBC, CBS, CNN, ABC, Huffington Post, Forbes Magazine, Chicago Times, and many more, including international platforms worldwide. Egypt was also featured in her own Unstoppable Ford commercial, and this was aired during the Super Bowl in 2020. Actually 2019, excuse me. Egypt Ufele is a fashion mogul capturing the runway, the fashion industry, and the business world with the power of conviction. Check out www.chubbyline.com as well as our IG on Bully Chases. We are just so happy and honored that we have on All Men Are Not Created Equal, the dynamic duo, Dr. Reba Perry-Ufele and her wonderful daughter, Egypt Ufele. Hey, how's it going, guys?
Oh, great.
Good to see you. Egypt, how are you?
I'm doing good.
How old are you now, Egypt?
I'm 15, turning 16 May 3rd.
Okay, and are you currently in school?
Fully online.
Fully online. So how do you balance the fully online school environment with all that you're doing now in the fashion industry as well as in the literary space? How do you manage?
Well, with me being an online school, I don't have to actually go to school in person. So my school is basically pretty much portable because I can take my laptop with me certain places. And it gives me like more time to do other things.
I see. And Dr. Perry, I'm going to shift to you for a second. How was it raising a teenage daughter who is so talented and multifaceted in her skills as well as her busy entrepreneurial life?
Well, I'm happy that I work for myself because of the schedule that we have. Sometimes we'll have about 5 interviews a week, and that would take us out of the house. But since the pandemic, we were able to do it online. But before that, our schedule was so busy. But I always have time that I put aside so that she could still be a teenager, have quality time with her friends. But I lead by example, of course. She see me not looking at TV, she's not going to look at TV.
I see. I see. And Egypt, how did you get into the anti-bullying space? How did that come about?
Well, I was bullied when I was in the first and second grade, and I decided I didn't want anybody else to go through that. So I decided to create a program where kids my age or kids of all ages could have a safe space within their school.
So when you were first bullied, did you go to your mom and say, "Hey, mom, I'm being bullied"? How did you handle it?
In the beginning, I first ignored it, and then eventually, when it became physical, I decided to tell my mom.
So the bullying went from verbal to physical at some point?
Yes.
And
Yeah.
and I know your mom personally, and
Whoa.
she doesn't play any games.
No.
So, Dr. Perry, how did you feel as a parent now when your child, your first grader or second grader, came to you saying, "Hey, mom, I'm being bullied," and what did you do?
Well, first I cried and I said, give me the strength not to go up to that school and be Medea. I had to really pray on it. And Egypt said, Mommy, you can't go to the school and do that. She said, what you're going to do is we're going to try to work something out with the school. But I'm going to tell you honestly, I was very angry because she was telling the teachers and they kept telling her to put her hand down. And then she got immune to it. And she had all the warning signs. She would get sick. Her stomach was always hurting before she actually go into school, and it became so violent that the little boy stabbed her with a pencil, and I had to bring her to the emergency room. Yeah, that's how violent it became. And we went to the emergency room, and thank God the doctors knew me personally because they wound up calling a social worker and questioning her. Did it happen at home or at school? And then the pediatrician said, you have to call the school, and we're going to have a social worker call the school in reference to all the violence. She had her finger pulled out of the socket. The kid would slam her finger in the door. They would eat her lunch because she had a problem with her stomach. They would take her lunch and eat it in front of her. And she got so immune to being, bullied that she told herself, okay, I have to go to school. And her grades never went down. So that wasn't like a warning sign. But she was very sick. She had a stomach problem all the time, and that was because her nerves was so bad from the kids bullying. So imagine first and second grade, but I had the principal removed from that school. They say I
Okay.
do my due diligence.
That was going to be my follow-up question because when we entrust our children to the school system, we're presupposing that they're going to be taken care of and their well-being will be at the top of the priority list. And to have your daughter physically assaulted, I know, especially in knowing you, it required a tremendous amount of patience
Yes.
to get it resolved in an amicable way.
And I did it the professional way because I knew we had to continue living in the community. But that was my agreement. Have the principal and the teachers that were involved retire them early because they needed to be retired. They didn't need to be working around any children. Imagine your 6 and 7 year old going to school and every day they were tormented and with multiple injuries that Egypt kept saying, oh, I made a mistake and did this. And I said, Egypt, there's no way you could, it's not even functionable for me to even think that that's happening. And she did that to protect the children because she was afraid of them retaliating against her. But the thing about it is we took that serious situation and we put it out there and didn't realize there was so many kids worldwide that was going through the same thing. So it was serious.
So you went beyond just informing the administrators of the school and the New York City Board of Education. And there were some other action steps that were taken. Can you talk to us about what those action steps were?
Yes. So what I did is I let Department of Education put a full anti-bullying campaign in place. Had the students come in rounds into the auditorium and discuss how hurtful bullying is without targeting Egypt, without the kids knowing that it was her that started. And then we put posters around the school. Then we had the children sign contracts stating that if they were caught being bullied, they had to have an in-house suspension, and they had to sit in the principal's office for 5 days, and the parents agreed on it, and it literally cut out all of the bullying. And then that's when we started the campaign and said, well, if this is happening in her school, how many more schools is this happening in? And we realized it wasn't just in America, it was a worldwide epidemic. And it was us on a mission that took us like, what, 2 weeks, where we didn't sleep with her publicist Yvonne Ford, because kids were calling us and emailing us around the world.
Wow. Around. So yeah, bullying is actually a worldwide problem. And we're going to talk a bit about how Egypt also just sprung into action to start various movements around the world when
Mhm.
it comes to the anti-bullying. But Ms. Perry,
Mhm.
Dr. Perry,
Yes.
what is your background when it comes to handling violence? Because I think you had mentioned in our talks in the past that you actually have some background regarding counseling,
Yes.
domestic violence, etc.
Yes. I'm certified counselor for domestic violence, rape, incest, drug and alcohol, and also childhood trauma, which is a serious thing. And I help Egypt work through the process of the trauma, because I know when you get traumatized as a child, it takes a lifetime to repair your self worth after of
Mm.
being bullied. And sometimes people say, well, it's just child's play. That was really what an issue was when I went to DOE, that they were saying it's just children playing, not when you stabbing an individual with a lead pencil into their
Mm.
thigh, which could have serious. And according to the doctor, if the student would have stabbed her 1 inch closer, he could have punctured her lungs, because that's how deep that pencil went in. And then we found out as time progressed that the child was troubled. So that's part of DOE responsibility, because this little boy apparently had multiple issues with other students, and the school just was brushing it under the rug for scores. Because once you get a certain amount of bad reviews at the school, then the school gets called in. So that's why they kind of ignored it. So now we making the schools be accountable for what's going on in the school system. And it is our responsibility as parents too to follow up.
Got it. Well, at this time, we're going to ask all of our viewing audience and listening audience on the various platforms to start a watch party. Hit the thumbs up. Subscribe to our Facebook page, our YouTube channel, as well as IG, all at Brother Esquire. Again, start a watch party. I know we have some parents who may be experiencing something very similar to what Dr. Perry in Egypt had experience with bullying. Um, get them now on this watch party. Hit the subscribe button and also communicate with us on the chat. If you have any questions for Dr. Perry or Egypt, we want to hear from you. So let's talk about the shift now from being bullied to being an anti-bully activist. And also, can you talk to us how that translated or transformed you into this huge fashion designer that you are now, as well as an author, youth activist, etc.? When did you then shift your energies to the fashion industry?
Well, I always liked to sew, and with my grandmother, like I would always sew with her. So it was more of like a hobby. And then I decided to make it into a business because I realized that a lot of people felt left out within the fashion industry, and that is a form of bullying. So I just decided to make clothes for everybody so nobody would be excluded.
Okay, Egypt. We have some seniors and elderly folks that are on this line, so we're going to ask you to speak up and speak a little slower for some of us that aren't as as quick as you. You know, as a teenager, I understand you want to get it your ideas across very quickly. But we do have some older folks like myself that's on the line watching this show, and we want to hear every single word that you say, Egypt, based on the fact that you were able to overcome what many of us, when we were younger, did not have the ability to overcome the way that you have. Okay. So now you said you've always had an interest in sewing. Where did you get that interest from?
Well, like I said, I used to sew with my grandmother a lot, so I would just always sew with her as just a hobby, and not like I. It just eventually just turned into something that I saw myself doing, like as a business, because if you like doing it, you might as well like make money from it. So
Got it. So you got it from grandma. So it's not even the dynamic duo, it's the triple threat. Grandma Doc and Egypt Ufele. And we're gonna ask our production team at some point to put on a commercial that you appeared on about a year and a half ago. But Mom, if you could just talk to us about how did that happen with the Ford commercial that Egypt appeared in?
What happened
Uh,
is at that time Egypt was going viral and everybody was posting articles about her worldwide. So the Ford company called and said, "We want to do a commercial about your daughter." And I hung up the phone and said, "Here we go with these fake robocallers." Then they called back again and said, "No, we want to fly you and your daughter to Hollywood to do a commercial based on her journey on how she overcome bullying." And I said, "Okay, this is real." So as
Mm.
a matter of fact, I think I had sent you the information, Jock, when it first happened and told you about it. And I said, "Okay." But it was an experience to do 4 days in Hollywood from Southeast Queens, 75 staff a day, where she had her
Wow.
own trailer. She had her own makeup artist, her own hairstylist. And like I was telling, she had a lady that hand her water to make sure she was good. And I said, "This is amazing." And then when we saw the checks coming in, we said, "Whoa, this is really something." I mean, it was an experience, but it also was a message because at the end it said unstoppable, telling
Un-
you that you unstoppable.
wow, wow. We're going to get into that commercial and ask brother Michael, who's in our production team, to put that commercial on because it's a tremendous commercial. And we also, I think, in that commercial, you made a cameo appearance in that commercial.
Yeah,
How did?
I was in the commercial, driving the car. Nobody saw me. Running with the mannequin. Nobody saw me. But I was there. I was there. I was the sidekick.
So, did they contact you as well, Dr. Perry, and say we want you in the commercial, or
No,
how did
actually, they had an actress that was playing me, and I said, "How is somebody gonna play me when I'm me?" So I said, then they finally add me into the script because I said nobody's gonna have more passion than me because I was the one that was running with the mannequins. And the reason why they put that mannequin in there because we were running down the street at a fashion show with our clothes rack for New York Fashion Week, and the whole clothes rack flipped over in the middle of the street. That's how that piece got in there.
got it. And to our delight, it was played during the 2019 Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Eh, so Egypt, I know once that commercial, before that commercial, you were known in Southeast Queens because we were seeing you all over the place. But that commercial right there was viewed by millions of people worldwide. How did you handle this new now fame that you had acquired? How was that going into school now that you're Egypt on the Super Bowl commercial? How did that feel?
well, a lot of the people in school, like they would point it out, be like, "Oh, I saw your commercial." And, like I would try to play down and be like,
She played she played like Hannah Montana. She would go to school and pretend like it was not her, and she was constantly telling kids, "No, that was definitely not me." And she pretend for so long, and people would run up to us in the supermarket, Target, wherever, and say, are you the good girl that was on the first? And she still played like it was not her.
Wow.
It's her personality. She's just modest. She's not one of those flamboyant type of people. But me, I say, yeah, I was.
You know what? We're going to confirm that it was her. We're going to have Brother Michael play her commercial so that we can let our viewing audience, who may have missed it, see Egypt in her glory. The mom and daughter team of Dr. Reba Ufele and her daughter, Egypt Ufele. Egypt, as you may already know, is a child prodigy. She's a UN Youth Ambassador. She's the CEO of Chubby Line Fashion Line. She's been featured in major magazines, and she's just tearing up the fashion world. Please join us.
For those who create their own path, always unstoppable.
So you just saw the wonderful talent of Dr. Perry and Egypt Ufele in the Ford commercial. Yeah, I did see that cameo appearance. Mom, it was you. And so Egypt, you go back to school now. You've done appeared in a Super Bowl commercial. So what were the reaction, if any, from some of the bullies who may have bullied you before? Have you ever run into them after your new acquired fame?
Well, yes, but like it wasn't on like a really negative type of encounter. It was more like a positive thing, like with apologies and stuff like that.
Wow. So some of these bullies actually apologize for their behavior.
Yes.
Okay, and how did you take it?
Well, like I'm not the type to hold grudges, so I do forgive them. But it's just like I'm not gonna forget what you did, but the fact that you like took the time out to apologize because they didn't have to say anything. So
Correct. I think it's commendable that your behavior actually elicited an apology from some of the young people who may have bullied you. And I know, their action is really directed or impacted by some adult who may not have taught them better as well. So for you to be the bigger person and accept their apology and allow them to, apologize to you, I think it is big of you. And the maturity level that you have has always been beyond your age, Egypt. So we also understand that you've written a couple of books as well. What drove you to write your books?
well, the book that um I like that I'm the main author of, which is Egypt Ufele Life by My Own Design. I wanted to make a teaching tool for kids like that were younger, or like people of all ages, so like they can show, so it can show my journey and what I went through when I was younger, and basically just like give them a simpler way of like seeing what happened.
And it was
Got,
assisted by a licensed social worker that worked in the school system. So
oh,
she helped with all of Egypt expressing her feelings because it took a while because there was so much data that had to be put into the book,
mm,
and she had to work through a lot of her feelings because it kind of brought PTSD back from all the trauma of finger being pulled out of the socket and then the little boy stabbing her. That's all in the book. And the book is just not all about bullying. If you actually see the book, you would see it's teaching you about absentee fathers, self esteem, childhood obesity, asthma, and how do you get through bullying without having so much anxiety. So the schools are you actually using it as a teacher too, because in the back of it, it has how you write about your feelings in the back.
mm. So I understand there are various institutions that are actually making it required reading
Yes.
for their students. Where can just private individuals find your book, Egypt?
You can go on Amazon and type in Egypt Ufele Lifestyle and Design, and it should pop up. It's selling for 13.99.
Oh, okay, excellent, excellent. And what kind of reviews have you received from your books? Have you had a chance to talk to any of the readers to see what they thought of your books?
Yes. I've so far I've received a lot of good feedback because it's like very easy for kids to read because there's so many pictures. And yeah, like it's basically a lot of people have had a lot of good things to say about it.
Okay, and mom, I know it's not easy having a teenage child, and as brilliant as we know Egypt is, and as intelligent as she is, what are some of the challenges of raising a child prodigy?
Well, she still has to do her chores. She gets her weekly allowance, and she always was a humble, quiet child, even before the bullying. So that's why I wasn't really alarmed because she never really was loud and outspoken, but still just balancing the schedule of all of her appearances and making sure she stayed that honor roll student is very challenging because now she's mature and she's in the 10th grade, but taking AP classes is very hard because she has to keep up with the schedule. And then sometimes because she has a work permit in 2 states, sometimes we have to leave school, and
Mm.
that was before we were doing remote. And some teachers were not lenient towards it. And I'm like, she's an honor roll student. Even if she comes back, she's not really missing nothing.
Yeah.
Because I tell them to email me the assignments, and some of
Mhm.
them get agitated and they'll say, well, why does she have to leave the school? I said, because it's her job. This is what she do. But they didn't
Correct.
understand it, and it kind of put her behind. But I wanted her to also be a normal kid and do normal things, and that's why she didn't want the kids in her school to know this is her. And by the way, Jock, we never disclosed the name of the school. She remained in the school even after the bullying.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
that was a disclaimer that we had. We would never say on any type of social
Hmm.
media what the school was. Because the school, we can't blame the whole school. We can
Correct.
only blame a few people that didn't do their job. But we know that we have to live in this community.
Hmm. Got it. Got it. Got it. Well, we're about to go into our commercial break and a few, but before we go into the commercial break, I just want to talk a bit about how life has been after COVID-19. Around this time last year, life has changed drastically for all of us. And how was you and Egypt able to pivot since March 19th?
So February 9th, no 8th, she did her first own New York Fashion Week that we got. We sponsored it. And we had people come from other states, countries. Models came from around the world. I mean, we had a full team, and me and Egypt sponsored everything. Little did we know, a month later, New York would be shut down. So
Mm,
we did our last fashion show, and I say we because I'm always the one that
of
planned
course.
had everything. And little did we know, we were in the middle of a pandemic before the pandemic actually was called to order. So
Wow.
we did that New York Fashion Week, and we have not done any shows since. And Egypt actually retired from the fashion industry after the February 8th. Her own, she wanted to show. She had a sold out event with 300 people that came, and
Wait,
it sold out.
this is during New York Fashion Week?
Yeah, New York Fashion Week last year,
Yeah.
February, sold out.
Wow.
So she
Wow.
still made history. The youngest sponsored her own event and sold out 300 guests, and it was sold out. I mean, it was standing room only, and she had models from other countries and states that came in. We had the best entertainment, and she gave out awards to 7 youthpreneurs that are in the vicinity, New York and other states that are doing outstanding work like her.
So let's talk a bit about the international work. Reba, what work have you done outside of the United States?
London and Africa.
Uh,
We do a lot of work. We give a lot of things away, tablets, female supplies. We give because we travel to Nigeria a lot, and we found that the girls were being neglected, meaning some of the schools that we visit abroad didn't have bathrooms, so that means the girl would miss the school 2 days out of the month because she was on her cycle if there was no bathroom. And me and Egypt put a roof on a school that had no roof because I guess they had some damage, and the kids were still going to school in a hot 100-degree weather. And then we had a toilet installed for a girls' school because we realized that the girls were missing. If you do 2 times 10 months out of the year, how many days the girls are missing? And we know how important it is for a girl to be educated in a third world country. It's not a matter of us in New York where we can get resources. These girls were really suffering. So, and we still send, even during the pandemic, we send a lot of things down, even though we were not physically there because of the pandemic, but we do a lot of UN ambassador work, and we find out what the girls need and we send it to them. And you have to get recognition. You just do it because it's the right thing to do.
And did you actually go with her to the UK and to Nigeria?
She never go by herself because of security risks. You in these rural places where when we travel, we have armed security that meet us at the airport, and they carry us from one point to the other. Sometimes we go in places we don't have a choice but to meet late at night for security reasons, because that way you don't have a large crowds knowing that you're in that place. And people talk and say, hey, the child prodigy from America is coming. So you have to be careful. And most of the time, we don't even post that we in that location to 2 or 3 days later. So people won't know our traveling itinerary. And we always have armed security with us.
Got it. Well, Dr. Perry and Egypt, we're going to take a quick 30-second break and then come right back. There are several questions that we're receiving in the chat room that I would like to pose to you. So please hold tight to the listening audience, viewing audience. Thank you so much for joining us this afternoon.
Be a part of the force that powers truth in journalism. Your support helps us to highlight solutions for a brighter tomorrow. Go to nnvnews.com/donate.
This is Sister Sajida Muhammad. We are proud to announce that the Sajida House commemorative Elijah coins are finally here. This priceless heirloom, made from recycled copper from the messenger's home, is now available at sajidahouse.com.
The hashtag #BankBlack social media campaign made strides not only in revolutionizing how we bank, but also how we think. The movement inspired thousands of African Americans across the country to transfer or deposit millions of dollars into Black-owned banks. These are banks that will invest in urban communities, employ African Americans, support Black businesses, and inspire Black home ownership. This is a very proud moment for our culture as we are taking small but significant steps towards building Black power through Black wealth.
Please share your thoughts with us in the comment section below. Follow us on social media at NNV News, and please subscribe to our YouTube channel at National Network View. I am Anissa Muhammad with NNVnews.com.
Welcome back to the All Men Are Not Created Equal podcast. We want to thank our network, our partners, NNV News, for carrying us across several platforms, social media platforms. We have with us Dr. Ufele and her teenage prodigy daughter, Egypt Ufele, who is a tremendous force in the fashion industry, in the literary space. She's an A student and international activist when it comes to youth anti-bullying. Welcome again. Thank you, Dr. Reba, and thank you, Egypt, for joining us. Egypt, I wanted to ask you, so who inspires your designs? Because I looked at your fashion, and it ranges from the super formal to the casual to the Afrocentric I guess attire. So who inspires your designs?
Well, a lot of my inspiration comes from like a lot of ready to wear and like things that people wear on a daily basis. But I wanted to incorporate the African look, so I just like use African fabric, but like put an urban twist.
I see, and I also saw since COVID-19. You've been making masks as well as outfits for dolls that look like various people that you know. How did that come about?
Well, since I knew that I couldn't do fashion shows anymore, I decided to make dolls so I can showcase my line other ways, like showcase new designs and new styles without having to interact with other people and like further the spread.
Okay, and how does one go about getting one of those dolls with? Because I need a bald-headed brother with a bow tie.
You just send the picture that you want it to look like, and then like my mom will go find the doll, and then I'll make the outfit.
Nice. So, Mom, Dr. Ufele, what advice would you give to mothers and fathers who are raising young people and really want to ensure that they don't get ensnared in some of these traps that young people tend to fall in oftentimes in our communities?
But it starts from the womb. The time that they come out on this earth, I call it the land of living, you have to lead by example. If you're looking at TV all day, your children will look at TV all day. If your children see you reading a book, then you should be showing them how to read a book. And you know, I have the daycare, so I'm used to educating our young people and also the importance of leading by example. No parent is perfect, but if you're a yeller, screamer, smoke, drink, you showing your children all of this behavior is acceptable. And there's times where you really want to do certain things, but then you have to always think out of the box. Is this child going to do exactly what I'm doing, or I'm going to lead her to do the right thing? So I tell parents, and I have a lot of parents, and I have a lot of, Egypt has a lot of young people that's envious of her, and they'll do malicious things. And I'm going to tell you, after the bullying job, it was no longer the kids bullying her. It was adults bullying her.
Wow.
Go on the social media. That's why she got 7 million views and 8 million views on certain sites, because it'd be adults calling her out of name, calling her fat pig and all these different things. And we didn't respond. Her sister, who's 24 now, Sade, would get so angry. I said, don't entertain them. They making a better door and a platform for us to open. Let them say, because you have to really be low self-esteem to talk about a child, period.
Correct.
I don't care what you think that child should look like. A real adult that has common sense would never call a child out of line. So this is how Egypt became famous. The negative wound up turning into a positive. So I tell parents, if you want your children to be a child prodigy, you have to start from when they're little. You can't take a child at 14 and say, I want you to be a child prodigy. You have to start early. And that's showing them leadership. And leadership is showing them by example.
Got it. And now, though, Reba, Doc, this past week we saw the Grammy Awards, and I don't know if you saw it. I actually didn't see it, but I heard about it.
I didn't see it, but I heard about it, and they kept tagging me on my social media. And I said, you know what? I don't judge people because, I'm a minister and a chaplain. When people show who they really are, you can't get angry because this is what did I just say? Lead by example. Mm-hmm. If you are taught this behavior, you're going to do. But you also got to understand, and as adults on here, sex sells in the industry. And if it's going to sell, people are going to pay attention to it. Mm-hmm. All the naysayers are saying negative stuff about it, but also people paid attention. And it got attention. It might have gotten a negative attention, but these networks don't care. All they're thinking about is how many people were viewed in to look at it. So I don't criticize any ex-stripper. I don't criticize someone that's doing something inappropriate. That's their choice. I'm concerned about what's happening in my household. Correct. So when I see these people and I say, you know what, I'm just going to let them be their self, because as we all get older, gravity set in, and you ain't gonna be able to jump and do all that crazy stuff you've seen on the TV. So what we have to do is understand that this industry is set up to either downplay us or put us in the spotlight in a negative way.
Got it. So, and the reason I ask is because some, we have a lot of parents who are struggling to find a balance with their children on, whether or not I should broach this subject with my child, or should I just try to blindfold them the best way that I can? And they're trying to find some sort of middle ground in order to ensure that they're able to kind of bypass, so to speak, some of the things that they don't allow into their own households. And just wanted to get an idea of how you handled it, because it is clear that, I already said you're a super mom, right? And just looking also and knowing Egypt for a while, how even tempered she is and how she's able to navigate various spaces, within the community. She does a lot of community work, etc. But at the same time, she's still 16, and I'm sure there are conversations and things that her peer group might be into that may not necessarily be acceptable to you. So just wanted to see how you kind of handle that.
Right. So what you do is, the mistake that parents do is they talk at their children instead of to them. The yelling, the screaming. We all can go through that type of category, but the best thing to do is have an open communication with your children, because once they leave your eyesight, don't ever say what your children are not going to do. But if you build that foundation and you know that there's a trust there, Egypt will still be around her friends, and they're always going to be negative friends. You have to know that when they leave your eyesight, you know that your foundation was built and the structure was there. And she's going to always think, if I do this negative thing, how is that going to affect my mother? How is she going to feel? And most of our young people don't think that way. And I'm not speaking for all of them. They just kind of go with the motions. And you remember being a young person. It's not easy. They got social media. They got all kinds of things that's attacking them. And then you got social injustice. It's so many things that they have to worry about. Like, for instance, she'll ask me, can I go meet my friends somewhere? No. Why? Because I'm going to drive you. I need to see who these friends are. I need to know who they are. And I need to know who their mother is. It has nothing to do with me being that overprotective. Our young people are dying before us from senseless violence. And this is why I have to stay. And there's no way I can just say, yeah, get on a train and go somewhere and hang out with your friends. You have to be responsible. And once your kids know that you are a responsible parent, they're not going to try you.
That's love.
Try you.
That's love right there, Dr. Perry. That's love right there. And oh man, we're winding down to the last quarter of the show, but there are so many other things I want to get into, and I'm looking at the questions that are coming in on the various platforms, social media platforms that we have. And I wanted you, before we get into the some of the questions, talk a bit about I understand there's some sort of biopic.
Yes. We have a biopic that we've been working on for over a year. We had to put all the thoughts together, and we had to get this information out. And Egypt was really, she said, "Mommy, I don't really need to do a biopic." I said, "Well, if you want to retire from the industry, people need to see what led up to the child prodigy, like this with the mural on the wall. That's so major for the Commissioner of Human Rights to put a mural of her on the wall to show protect our Black girls." And there's a meaning behind that. And, when we went to do the pitch for it, Egypt was sleeping the whole time on the table. And they said, "What in the world?" I said, "You don't understand. My daughter's schedule starts at close to 5:30 in the morning. She doesn't go to bed till late." And that's what got her on that wall, because she was so dedicated to going to that meeting. I mean, and Egypt could go to sleep anywhere. When she's sleepy, she's sleepy. She goes to sleep. So it's just a mission that we won't stop, even though she's retired from the fashion industry. But we still have a mission, and we'll be traveling to Nigeria. We just don't give the dates for security reasons. But she's still doing a lot of work. But we just want parents to know the importance. Every child is different. So don't expect your child to be the child prodigy. And you got to remember, we didn't plan for any of this. This was never planned. Once Cheryl Wills took that story and it went viral, the rest was history. I literally had to put my work aside to save these children in all these different states. We did a lot of traveling. A lot.
Wow. And I'm sure along the way, Egypt, you've met other young people, your peers, who are doing this work as well. What is the relationship that you have with some of your peers?
Well, when I meet peers my age, I try to keep it friendly. I don't try to make everything about business, because I know how that is. So I'll keep it friendly, just associates.
So, Egypt, you're an entrepreneur. You have your own business. What are some of the responsibilities as a business girl, I should say, that you have on a daily basis? And I'm not going to let Mom answer this question. I want to hear it from you, because I know you're about your business.
Well, the first thing I do is go to school, and then I try to focus on school. Then my mom probably texts me the schedule for the week, and then I'll just basically try to just manage my time between different things.
But I want to hear a little bit more of how you run your companies.
Be specific, meetings,
contract negotiations, purchasing, your invoices and all that other good stuff. Because I know Mom, and I know Mom allows you a certain level of flexibility to handle your business as the CEO of your companies.
Well, with the financial stuff, she handles that because I'm under 18. Smart. With contracts and stuff, she'll go over them with me, and we'll I'll say what I'm not comfortable with and what I'm comfortable with, and yeah, that's basically it. Most of the financial stuff she takes care of.
And we double sign. She signed and then I signed. So this is her contract. Even though she's underage, I still make them put her name there, so she won't ever say I forced her to do something. So it's sitting in black and white. And then I make her read it so she can understand what the contract is about. And then if she said no, I don't want to do it. For instance, there was an interview we were supposed to do that was abroad, and once we read the final contract, she said, "Mommy, I'm not doing it." And I just called the public and said, "Cancel it," because it's still her company, and I still give her the opportunity to make her decision because she's 16 in a few weeks. She knows what she wants, and she'll just tell me, "No, I don't want to do that," and I just say, "Okay, we can't do it."
And Dr. Perry, how important was it to ensure that Egypt was financially literate?
Well, from when she was little, she opened her first bank account when she was 5, selling pencils at school. And the principal, no, it was the dean that called me and said, "Dr. Perry," well, I wasn't Dr. Perry at the time. She said, "I need your daughter to stop selling pencils at school." So I said, "At school?" So I kind of got into it because she kept saying every week, "We need to go to Staples," and she's buying these boxes of pencils. So I'm thinking to myself, is she eating the pencils? What is happening to these pencils? Egypt was so smart. She had other kids selling pencils at the other end of the school and collect the money back, gave the kids their portion of the money, and she knew from the beginning that she was going to take that money and save it and put it back to a cause. And the dean said no. Then she gave the PTA donations so that they would shut up about her selling the pencils. And that's when she knew she was an entrepreneur. And people would laugh, but guess what? The dean said all the students were prepared now because they would come to school without their pencils being sharpened. She would take her time with her electric sharpener and sharpen all those pencils.
Wow.
Early entrepreneur, and saved the money and opened her bank account. And that's the beginning of her learning about the importance of her finances and knowing if you get your allowance and it automatically goes onto her card every Monday, and she takes that allowance, and it's not a large amount because people think because she's making the money, I give her the money. No, she gets allowance, and she has to delegate that money and know this is your allowance for the week. You're going to spend it on whatever you want, but no, you're not getting any more money the rest of the week.
Got it. And Egypt, soon to be 16 years old. You're a sophomore or junior in high school right now? You're a sophomore. Are you thinking about college?
Yeah, it's kind of hard because since I'm doing AP classes, College Board has like sent my information out to different places.
So what AP courses are you taking now?
AP Seminar, AP Computer Science Principles, and AP Lit.
Wow. And do you have any colleges in mind that you're looking at that you think you may want to visit or go to once you've done your college tours and college visits?
I was thinking like APCU.
Okay. Good choice.
Yeah. But it's just like the AP classes can be a little stressful, especially AP Seminar, because like I just finished PT1 and it's very a lot of work.
a lot of work. Are you earning college credits right now while you're in high school?
From what I know right now, I don't know, but I think I like get like this like thing on my diploma that says AP Capstone.
Okay.
And next year I can register for the College Now program in my school.
So what's your favorite subject?
I don't know. It has to be English. English or social studies.
Okay. I know when you were
she likes to challenge the teachers a lot. Like yes, do. Like that.
I wonder where she got that from.
I don't know. Wasn't me. She challenges them if they say XYZ. She said, "Well, no. According to this research, that's not what I found." And I said, "Egypt, please stop doing that and let them be the teacher." That's her personality.
Okay. And I know when you were much younger, Egypt, you were fascinated with science. Are you still thinking about the science track or not really?
Because now this year I have physics, so I'm not really interested. But before, like it's it's cool, but like now, like physics to me is just like advanced math. So it's not really so much of you getting into like the experiments and stuff.
Got it. Got it. Well, we're at the close of the program. This was totally delightful for our viewing audience as well as myself and Dr. Perry. We can't thank you enough for the wonderful job that you're doing with we call her Nisi, our niece, Egypt. And Egypt, we're so proud of you with all that you've accomplished and the fact that you're still level-headed, you're still even-tempered, and you have compassion for others is extremely admirable. And we just want to continue to pray for you and wish you the very best as you matriculate through high school to college, and the sky is the limit. So, Doc, I'll go with you first and ask for your closing remarks, and then we're going to ask Egypt for her closing remarks. And again, thank you very much. Go ahead, Doc.
So we have Egypt's biopic, which will be out June, and it's the same as the book Egypt Ufele, Life by My Own Design, and it'll be on Netflix. So we decided that we're going to make it into a series instead of just doing the biopic because it was just too much information to jab into one biopic. And we just grateful that we still going strong 6 years later, and everything is just working out. I'm just so proud of her because she could be going in another direction, but she's doing her thing, and I'm proud of her.
Excellent. Now it's on you, Egypt, and I know you're extremely modest and extremely humble. I want to hear you brag about yourself just a little bit, Egypt, just a little bit.
I just want to thank my team and thank my mom and my grandma and my publicist and everybody else who's supporting.
Yes, publicist Yvonne Forbes. She's been with us from the beginning.
Yes, Miss Forbes is amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing publicist. And when you have a publicist that don't only care about publicizing who you are, but really care about you and about your family, you really have a tremendous gift. Again, Dr. Ufele, thank you so very much. Egypt, I want to thank you very much for appearing on the All Men Are Not Created Equal podcast. We want to thank our sponsors as well as our broadcasting partners, NNV News, for such a wonderful job that you guys do day in and day out. Thank you much, and may God bless you. Peace.